Okay.
yomsebenzi esizowenza manje la besicela khona i-approval futhi ekuthenini i-council isiphi approval ya.
Is the recommendation agreed? Right, thank you.
Siyabonga.
Right. We go back now to our agenda. Chief Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not sure whether we go back or we take the ethics report before we go back to the agenda.
The request was with the items that were identified and MPEG.
Okay, thank you.
What's that? The ethics is oh no, they say ethics is also laid on table. Okay, let's deal with the ethics. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chief Whip. Can we allow the Ethics Committee Chair? Be. Yeah. Ethics Committee Chair.
Abaphakamisa isandla.
Phakamisa isandla so that we unmute you.
Madam Speaker.
Councillor Mtet.
Speaker, Councillor Mtetwa.
Yes, Councillor.
May I request the host or whoever to try and address the issue of sound, because some colleagues are unable to hear what's happening here. So the audio is a bit problematic. Can that be addressed, please?
Thank you. Let's address the issue of sound. Some councillors can't hear what's happening. Councillor Hlophe, please raise your hand. Ethics Committee Chair. Please address the issue of sound. Where's the Ethics Committee Chair? Chief Whip, umuntu wakho. Okay, let's continue and do the other items. We start from the beginning. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Item 1 on page 7 from the report of the Governance and Human Resources Committee. Item 1.1, Workplace Skills Plan Annual Training Report. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Agreed.
Item 1.2, report on the policy for attraction and retention motor vehicle allowance. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 1.3, policy review, determination of commencing salary on appointment and promotion in accordance with the recruitment and selection policy. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 1.4, policy review, employee wellness program, and substance abuse policy. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Noted.
Performance management policy, item 1.5, policy management policy and procedure. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted? Okay.
Report number 2, report of the Finance, Security and Emergency Services Committee. Meeting held on the 18th of the 6th, 2020. Item 2.1, budget statement report for the month ended 31st of March, 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 2.2, public tender awards, inclusive of section 36 awards of eThekwini municipality for the month of March 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 2.3, tender awards, inclusive of section 36 awards of eThekwini municipality for the month of April 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 2.4, tender awards, inclusive of section 36 awards at eThekwini municipality for the month of May 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Noted.
Item 2.5, quarterly reports on withdrawals from municipal bank accounts in terms of Municipal Finance Management Act. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 2.6, report on investments for April 2020. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted?
Item 2.7, report on investments for May 2020. Committee recommends.
We have a hand here, Councillor Mtiani.
Speaker, can we confirm whether we still have all the councillors who are supposed to be in this council meeting or not? Because I see upstairs everybody's gone. Now, I come there now. So I think we are no longer meeting the quorum now.
The whips will attend to that. The
Please.
Secretariat will
Let me
attend.
check on the Zoom as well. How many are still left there? No, we'll take decisions. We'll take decisions. We'll take decisions, and they'll be questioned in terms of law.
Let's continue in the meantime.
Thank you, Speaker.
2.7.
2.7, reports on investments for May 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted? Oh, is this agreed? Noted in 2.7.
2.8, accounts payable policy in terms of Local Government Municipal Finance Management Act. Committee recommends.
Is this recommendation agreed?
Item 2.9, meter reading report. Committee recommends.
Councillor Macpherson. He had a problem earlier on. I don't know whether he's sorted out now. But there's Councillor Kuzwayo from the DA. Point of order. We have a point of order, please. Who's that? Councillor Graham, you are unmuted.
Thank you, Speaker. I am a little bit concerned about the way in which you've dealt with Councillor Mtiane's point of order. If he claims that there are not people present at City Hall, that was the bulk of our quorum. You will recall at the beginning of the meeting. And many of the participants on the Zoom are officials or members of the technical team. So I've really got no way of assessing whether there is a quorum or not, but I do believe that if there's a concern from a member about whether we have a quorum, that should be addressed prior to us continuing with the agenda.
Let's then wait for the party whips. Councillor Tang.
Speaker,
we request, Speaker, with due respect, that maybe we stick to your ruling that we proceed. You see, with due respect, Councillor Grahama, as she is speaking, she is making, she's supporting what Councillor Mtiane is saying. And Councillor Mtiane was seated here from the beginning of the proceedings. He fell asleep, he woke up, and then he's making allegations. You see, Speaker, when this council meeting was beginning, Councillor Mtiane did not go and count in all of those venues. Now, when he's waking up, suddenly he's dreaming, and now he's making these claims. And Councillor Grahama, who's not here, is now saying, "Let's wait." Can you just stick to the way that you said your ruling, so that we proceed, and then the chief whip is going to come back with the report that is much needed.
All, not necessarily the chief whip, all political parties. Let's continue. Who's that? Councillor Kumete, IFP.
Madam Speaker, I just wanted to confirm that I've checked with all my councillors there in a meeting.
Come again, Councillor Kumete.
I've just checked with all my councillors. They are in a meeting as from the morning.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Mtiane.
Councillor Mthethwa, Madam Speaker.
Okay, Mtiane, before you, Councillor Mtiane.
Yeah, I had my hand up because I wanted to confirm that we still have 48 DA councillors in the meeting, and also to echo what Councillor Graham is saying. I disagree with Councillor Tang. We can't proceed if there's a question of whether or not we still correct. We cannot proceed, because what if we resolve on items only to find that we don't have quorum? So we cannot proceed if there's a question of whether or not we are correct.
You confirming that you are still 48, Councillor Mtiane?
No, thanks, Speaker. I ETA relax manje sesiconfirmile ise right. Asiqhubeke nomhlangano.
Whose other hand was up? ACDP.
Madam Speaker, we just wanted to confirm we're present.
ACDP is present. Mtiane is now saying Sesi right. I hope you are all comfortable now. Let's continue. Who's that? Councillor McPherson, you've been unmuted. Can we continue?
Yes, finally. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, Madam Speaker?
Yes, Baba, continue.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Mine is to add a further point. We want to make an amendment to this recommendation by adding a further clause. May I put it up on the screen what we want to add? and it's going to be second by Councillor Zumani.
Councillor, so are you done?
Trying to share. I don't think you're allowed to share. You can't share a screen.
And then I would like to talk to the amendment once we voted on it.
Come, I didn't hear you. Have you got an amendment?
Yeah, I've got an amendment that all electricity, can I talk to it? It's going to be amendment point 2.9.3.
2.9.
So there you have 2.9.2. I would like to add an amendment 2.9.3.
2.9.3.
I can read it out.
Okay, read the amendment.
That all electricity and water meters be read every month for the sake of accurate monthly billing. And I would like to talk to that, please.
Okay. Have you got a seconder?
Yes, Zamani Kwayo. Zamani, can you put your hand up?
Zamani? Who's Kwayo? Councillor McPherson, have you got Kwayo here? Councillor Kwabe? No, we're still waiting. Let's be patient.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I think McPherson is trying to push something that was not there. This is for noting. We cannot amend anything that is meant
No,
for
let's
noting.
wait until we finish with it. Let's wait.
Okay.
Okay. Where's Councillor Kwayo? Is there a Kwayo? Oh. Zamani, Councillor Zamani, Kuzwayo.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Ba.
Yes. Yeah, I'm seconding the amendment on this recommendation. Councillor Kuzwayo.
Are we agreeing on the amendment?
No, it is wrong for
And
the
then
first time,
Councillor
Speaker.
McPherson, can you motivate? Point of order, Mandela Room.
Yes, Speaker. We go nine Speaker Uguti.
Honorable Speaker.
Hello.
Honorable Speaker.
Ngiyaphazamiseka.
Chief Whip, there's a speaker on the floor.
Honorable Speaker.
There's a speaker on the floor. Oh, okay, Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Cha kuyacaca Honorable Speaker ukuthi ngenkulu nje inhlonipho abanye boza kwethu bebengafisa ukuthi lo mhlangano uqhubeke. Ngisuke lapho ngoba kunomunye umhlonishwa othi akusekho umuntu la ehubhuza nje uhubhu lika Bhejana. Ngiyacela Honorable Speaker siqhubeke nomhlangano ngoba ayikho yonke lento akade yisho. Thank you very much.
Chief Whip usebuye wayilungisa Chief Whip. Okay, let's allow the speaker who was on the floor.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Ntshangase lo la eluthuli. Ngifuna ukuchecka la Speaker no legal ukuthi anyone who come up with any proposal or any amendments within the item esuke ikhona unalo enilungelo lokuyiqokela umuntu ozomsekenda without ukuthi uwena oraise ukuthi is there any second.
No, I asked if there is any seconder. And then he said
He's the one who proposed that Councillor Kuzwayo should raise the hand so that he will second the motion.
But I asked him and he said it's Kuzwayo. I asked, so I will confirm it's Kuzwayo. No, Kuzwayo confirmed that he's seconding. Let's allow McPherson to motivate so that we vote on the amendment, guys.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
You know, it's fascinating. You know, when one tries to do good and to assist the city, that no matter the good intention, that there is always a defense and an attack. And it's sad that the city is allowing itself to be run like this. You know, we all trying to make the city work, and our recommendations are not to block, but only to assist. And the reason why the DA is insisting or asking that our water and electricity meters be read every month is for the sake of accurate billing. Over the last 6 months and last year, we've had a situation where electricity bills have, in most instances, been averaged and averaged upwards. So, for example, electricity meters were perhaps read in January or December during the highest usage peaks, with summer at its peak, and electricity was, of course, at a premium because of air conditioning and so on and so forth. So when winter came, and you know, there were meter readers that weren't able to get out, and we understand that bills were averaged at a much higher rate, in some instances 100% higher. Now, for the average householder, that became very difficult, but for the average business, that became almost impossible, where businesses were being averaged 500,000 Rand electricity bills. So the stress that our dear consumers and customers, who are few in numbers now in the city, took massive strain and were now having to find money for fear of disconnection. The call center in itself, we all know, has now become dysfunctional and is not working. So you had high averages, stress, and a non-functioning call center, and the fear of disconnections. Businesses and the few customers that we have to sustain 3.5 million people is not sustainable. We get it that the city needs a steady cash flow, but the right thing to do for our customer base, the correct thing to do if we are going to measure ourselves as a world-class standard, is to make sure that the meters are read every single month and are accurately billed. The ANC, lauds itself that at the end of each meeting that people will clap and say, "Well done, that's the right thing to do." Well, let me say to you, the ANC, it's the right thing to do. This would be the right amendment to support. Accurate billing per month. It's in the best interest of the city, the best interest in business, and best interest in our customers. I thank you.
Thank you. Is the amendment agreed? The amendment is not agreed.
Madam Speaker.
The recommendation agreed as is.
Madam
Noted.
Speaker.
Okay. Councillor Mtiane.
No, Speaker, it's proper for EFF to abstain on this item because, I mean, correctly then you are saying the estimation you want to deal with, but you are not correcting the bills that have been given to the community.
So
I
you're
think that's the
abstaining.
crux of the matter. Let's correct the bills, then from now onwards, then start billing people correctly.
So you're abstaining.
Yes.
Who else is abstaining or agreeing or disagreeing? DLC? We're noting, guys. We're noting, remember.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can you hear me?
Councillor Pillay.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I wanted to speak on the amendment, therefore I had my hands up. I want to support the amendment. Madam Speaker, the reality on the ground is that people, Madam Speaker, hello? Madam Speaker?
We voted on the amendment.
But Madam Speaker, I had my hand up to speak on the amendment long before we vote on the amendment.
It was not yours.
Madam
It was not your amendment, Councillor Pillay.
Whilst it may not be my amendment, Madam Speaker, but as a council member, I was speaking on the amendment.
If you don't want to note, you say you don't want to note.
Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, you were breaking me.
We want to continue. Let's not have a debate on this. We've already done with the amendment. We're already done with the amendment. Is Councillor Mtian?
Madam Speaker, the DLC supports the amendment.
No, Speaker, we want to accept the correction by Councillor Tango there. Really, we have to then not note this item.
Fine.
Thank you.
Fine. Who's against? Who is against? Who is supporting? No. We've gone past the amendment. Who is not noting? Who is disagreeing with noting?
Madam Speaker.
Yebo.
Let's do it properly, Madam Speaker. There was an amendment. You did not afford us an opportunity to vote on the amendment.
We did, Councillor Nkos.
No, Madam Speaker. We raised our hand because we wanted to vote on the amendment, but we were not recognized.
Oh, I recognize you now. I'll go back to agreeing on the amendment. I did ask who is against the amendment, who is for the amendment. I did ask.
IFP support the amendment.
IFP supports the amendment. ACTP supports. Okay,
Yes.
let's now move to the noting part. Is
Madam
this
Speaker?
recommendation noted?
Speaker, Councillor Graham.
Madam Speaker, DM.
Councillor Graham.
Speaker, I just wanted to make the point that it would be impossible for any councillor to put their name down to speak on an amendment that they did not know was going to be put before the council. So if Councillor Pillay and I see Councillor Scott want to speak to the amendment, that should surely be allowed because neither of them had any way of knowing that the DA were going to put an amendment on this item. And the amendment...
No, Councillor Graham, we've gone past the amendment now. We can't go back.
My hand was up, Speaker, and I wasn't recognized.
No, we've gone past that. Are we noting the recommendation? Okay, let's continue.
Item 2.10, revenue collection difficulties, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 2.11, fire and emergency services.
210, I didn't hear anybody. Are you noting? Okay. I did. Kuba City Manager.
Item 2.11, Fire and Emergency Services Unit Activity Report for February 2020, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
2.12, Fire and Emergency Services Unit Activity Report for March to May 2020, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3, the report of the Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 18th of the 6th, 2020.
Is there a
item 3.1, strategy to eliminate gravel roads backlog in former township areas, committee recommends.
Councillor Sbisi, you are the speaker here. Councillor Sbisi, your name is here. Councillor Sbisi.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Madam Speaker. Yes, the problem is that the host take time to unmute us, so you will find that I can hear you. I know I'm in the list to speak, but I'm not unmuted. But what I wanted to say in
Raise
this,
your hand so that you get unmuted.
yes, we want to agree. I want to agree with the recommendation, but further than that, it's a good recommendation that will assist us to have good roads at eThekwini. It is the responsibility of the eThekwini to make sure that the residents of eThekwini get what they are paying for. But again, we need to come up with a strategy on how we're going to deal with the issue of the roads that are under district and the province, which makes our CBDs and our malls very bad because of the conditions of the roads there. So it is a very good initiative. We are hoping that this initiative of eliminating gravel road will be extended not only to township but to everywhere where we think there is a need for us to have the gravel road eliminated.
Is the recommendation agreed? Agreed.
100%.
Item 3.2, funding of preventative maintenance of eThekwini municipality's paved road network. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 3.3, unpaved roads, additional network for maintenance in Vulamehlo and other areas. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation carried.
Item 3.4, request for support and approval for the construction of the Upper Umkomazi bulk water scheme by the Department of Water and Sanitation. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Report item 4, report of the Economic Development and Planning Committee meeting held on the 18th of the 6th, 2020. Item 4.1, approval of special rating area policy. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 4.2, grant funding for Innovate Durban for 2020-21 to 2022-23. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 4.3, automotive industry development program. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 4.4, chemicals industry development program. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 4.5, economic development incentive policy for 2020-2021. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 4.6, economic recovery plan. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 4.7, provision of business support during COVID-19. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
4.8, review of telecommunications infrastructure, cellular masts and antennae provision in eThekwini municipal schemes. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 4.9, transfer of funds to Green Corridors, NPC to implement the Green Bremen West to Kwamashu project. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 4.1 we've dealt with. And then item 5, COVID rental reviews, relief measures for tenants in municipal property. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 6, additional technical support through the Global Futures Cities Program of the United Kingdom Prosperity Fund for specific COVID-related work. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 7, update of the Durban tourism's marketing during COVID-19 lockdown and to request authorization for virtual destination promotion leveraging through the city's funding and partnership investment with strategic destination programs from July to September 2020. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
Then we move on to the second report.
There's a hand.
Yes.
Item 7.
Item 7, there's a hand. Councillor Nicole Graham.
Speaker, we are voting against this item, and I think we might have speakers. Could you just check, please?
No, you don't.
Oh, I think the confusion is this item comes up again in a Rule of Order 28 later on in the agenda. I think we've got speakers on that, but we are voting against this. If you could please record that.
Okay, the DA is voting against this recommendation, number 7. Who else? Okay, the recommendation is carried. Let's go to the second report.
Second report of the Executive Committee, a special meeting held on the 7th of the 7th, 2020. Item 1, alternative accommodation for staff due to COVID-19. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 2, presentation on progress of skills audit for KZN municipality. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 3, 2018-2019 audit report findings. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendations noted?
Speakers.
Oh, we have speakers here, Councillor
Ben and Graham.
Councillor Ben first, then Graham, and then the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Ben.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've just been unmuted. I'd like to address specifically item 3 of the recommendations, the third one, which reads a comprehensive report on steps taken with regards to consequence management, an issue which has been sadly lacking in this municipality for a long time. And on this topic, I speak as a member of the Ethics Committee, which, as you would know, is responsible for the compliance with the Councillor's Code of Conduct. And it's no secret in this municipality that there have been some high-profile councillors and even now ex-councillors who've appeared in criminal courts. It's actually been in the front page of the newspapers, even their photographs. And yet there has been no report from you, nor your predecessor, regarding these charges against, I think it's 8 councillors. And there are another number of councillors who referred to indirectly, but were not named. My question to you is, when can we expect you to do your duty and refer these allegations to the Ethics Committee for investigation? It's now a topical issue in the party which runs this municipality, and hopefully someone will find the political backbone to actually refer these issues, these allegations against councillors to the ethics committees, which you and your predecessor have been obliged to do. That's the issue I wish to address. I'll leave the rest to my colleague, Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham.
Thanks, Speaker. Leading on from what Councillor Byrne has said, I think that we have seen some positive change in the council, but to be fair, very little positive change over the last almost a year. And the reality is that this incredibly damning audit finding, by far the worst metro audit finding in the country for that financial year, is a direct consequence of the level of ANC leadership that was elected in 2016, where the people of eThekwini put their faith in a system that would hopefully provide them with services and opportunities, and instead got a bunch of cadres who were intent on looting key line departments and reducing them to absolute naught. And all the language we use around this does not speak to the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is the politics of the ANC in this region, which has brought this municipality to its absolute knees. And even if we start to take steps now to recover what's gone wrong, it's going to take many, many years to undo the damage that's been done in key line departments. We discovered in February this year that co-accused of Zandile Gomede and Mondli Mthembu, who were arrested with them last year, their businesses were still getting work from different municipal line departments as of the beginning of this year. And the reality is, unless we take comprehensive steps, unless we root out the culture of corruption and capture, that has...
Just a minute, there's a point of order here.
Yabonga Speaker ekuqaleni ngesikhathi uKhansela Nicole Graham ekhuluma la ukhale kabi ngokuthi ukhathele ukubizwa ngegama, wathi amakhansela ambiza ngegama kade ngichecka ipage lakhe lapho wabiza ngokuthi they are infantile and misogynist, ebiza amakhansela after the speaker has ordered a councillor to withdraw the inappropriate naming of a councillor. But that is not withdrawn in the social networks. Now she's calling Councillor Mondli Mthembu, who is a councillor here in this municipality, Mondli Mthembu. Now, what does that make her if other people were calling her like that were misogynist and infantile? What does that make her?
Councillor Graham, correct that?
Councillor Mondli Mthembu, who's out on bail for fraud and corruption totaling 400 million rand, and who should have been fired by the ANC a very long time ago, and who should not still be a councillor in this municipality. Is that better?
Councillor, continue with what you want to say.
Yeah, people want to come be clever here. They'll learn. So the reality of what we're dealing with is that this is a...
Please behave. We all adults here. You mustn't talk to people like that. I will not allow it from anybody in this council. I will not allow it from the ANC, from the IFP, the EFF, the DA as well. Let's respect each other. And not
No,
say...
Speaker, the reality is that you do allow it. You allow it from everyone except us. And when we stand up for ourselves, then you complain. You allow it from everyone. This council is lawless.
Councillor Mtiane was calling you by name. Continue.
I said Councillor Mondli Mthembu, the one who's out on bail for fraud and corruption for 400 million rand. There, I said it.
Speech. Continue with your speech.
Okay. The reality is, until we resolve the politics of the ANC...
Order. Yeah, I
Councillor
think Nicole Bektuaga withdraw.
Councillor.
Oh, Councillor Nicole Graham. Bektuaga withdraw. Agazanga withdraw, Madam Speaker.
No, I asked him to say Councillor Mthembu.
No, she must withdraw first.
What?
Say that.
Withdraw what?
What she said.
Aye, boo.
She must withdraw
No,
first.
there's nothing to withdraw here. She corrected what she said when I said to her, she must call Councillor Mondli Mthembu, and not Mondli Mthembu. We want
Bye-bye,
to move.
Nicole.
We want to move, Councillor Mtian. Continue, Councillor Graham.
The reality is that this is the politics of the ANC. It's the politics of the ANC that have brought this municipality to their knees. And until such time as the voters see through the ANC for what they are, we're going to keep getting audit findings like this. Because the audit committee report is quite clear that many of the key components that have led to this kind of finding are still currently happening in this municipality. There have been small changes, and we acknowledge those changes where they exist, especially in the finance department where there has been some positive leadership. But we are dealing with a completely corrupt and morally dysfunctional system. And until such time as that is addressed head on, until such time as people who are found looting from the public purse are kicked out of office and put into jail, we are going to keep getting audit findings like this.
Council, the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's disingenuous of the DA to say that when this is a report that came out of EXCO, where we have specifically stated of the urgent need to develop an automated contract management system, a three days workshop, and a comprehensive report on steps taken with regards to consequence management, and that council support committees to play an oversight role. And this was also very largely covered by a workshop that was held in the Finance Committee with all the chairs and DCMs of this metro. Our mayor has led this. We have stated unequivocally as the ANC, anybody that is guilty of corruption and found so must be dealt with by the law. I don't care who that person is, whether it's an official, if it isn't. We are unequivocal in that there must be consequence management. I would like to bring a little bit of my experience as the former MEC of Finance, is that sometimes when matters are investigated, and I don't know, I'm not specifying any, when matters are investigated by the law enforcement agencies, they often, if not all of the time, refuse to hand over that information to the government body concerned. I found that problem when I was the provincial MEC of Finance. And a lot of the things that could have been investigated by the SIU or any of the other law enforcement agencies, our metro could be having exactly the same problem. But our mayor has been very, very clear on this matter, that if we have sufficient information about anybody that is corrupting the system, that disciplinary action must take place. And we are unequivocal about that as the ANC, without fear or favor. You have heard the marching call from our president, and we are loyal subjects to the president of South Africa. And we want to ensure that anybody that has taken money unlawfully from the council, anybody, that person is brought to justice, anybody. And we are clear about that as the ANC. We are not scared of reprisals because we are going to take action against anybody that loots the system. That is what we are here for. We take our jobs extremely seriously in the ANC, and we really do want a clean and good governance in eThekwini municipality. I thank you.
Thank you. Who is for the recommendation? Who is against the recommendation?
Noted.
It's noted. Thank you. Let's move.
Third report of the Executive Committee, meeting held on the 21st of the 7th, 2020. Item 1 has been dealt with. Item 2, ratification of Rule of Order 28(1) subsection B for funeral assistance of late Councillor B.P. Pungula in line with the civic funeral policy. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Noted.
Item 3 has been dealt with. We move on to item 4, ratification of Rule of Order 28, extension of COVID-19 payment relief. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 5, ratification of Rule of Order 28, request for authorization of virtual destination promotion, leveraging through cities funding and partnership investment with strategic destination programs from July to September 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation? Oh, there are speakers here. We ask Councillor BC from the DA.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. For the past few months, I think it's safe to say that things have been tough for all of us, unless, of course, if you're a councillor who stole food parcels. And we know that it is important for us to stimulate our economy and once again ensure that Durban is the prime destination, not only for South Africa, but for Africa as a whole. As a city, we have not managed to collect as much revenue as we would like to have. And we even need to be more careful now with our money and expenditure than ever. This is not a good message, to be honest. What message are we sending to our residents if we are saying we are hosting the mother of all parties during this tough time? If it wasn't for NGOs, people in our city during lockdown would have actually gone hungry. To spend 2.4 million on such an item is really excessive. People have been billed inaccurate figures in the last few months. And what is more concerning is that we are spending this money on influencers, and people in our city would be shocked to know that the mayor, the first citizen of eThekwini, is happy with this and is okay with this going ahead. Now, this would have never ever happened under Councillor Fosa Pierce's 10 minutes as mayor. So we as the Democratic Alliance would like to put on record that we are really, really not happy about this, as we do not see that this could bring returns to the city. Thank you.
Councillor Kunda.
Item siyidlule ku page 25, where I was expecting members to deliberate in terms of the item. The item that we're dealing with now, it's for noting because it was signed in the form of a rule of order. So as an ANC, we note this item.
Who is against the item? Then it's noted.
Noted.
Okay.
Item 6, proposal to request transfer of Belhaven Memorial Hall at number 217 First Avenue to Safer Cities Unit to utilize as drop-in center for the homeless. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed? Yes.
Item 7, motivation for access and earthworks funding through USDG to Qiniselani Manyuswa, Phase 1 Rural Housing Project. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Recommendation is carried.
Item 8, ratification of Rule of Order 28 for the funeral assistance of late Councillor N.E. Mthembu in line with the civic funeral policy. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted.
The 4th report of the Executive Committee held on the 4th of the 8th, 2020. Item 1, report of the governance.
City Manager, I hear the hands that are up. Whose hand? Councillor CBC, Councillor Mtetwa, and Councillor Graham. We'll start with CBC.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to speak on item number 7, but I can see we've already deal with it. I cannot make the council to stop. But I was in a speaking list. Can you please make sure before you move to another item if there is anyone who's in speaking list, because I was in the speaking list for number 7.
We're in item 5. No speakers in this item.
Item 7, we've already gone through, Madam Speaker, and I'm saying I'm in that list, but I cannot drag back the consent. I'm moving up, but I say, please check before you move to another item, because it is not proper for us to.
Councillor Mted.
Awulele lo mthetho adlule.
Councillor Nicole Graham.
Speaker, I'm not sure what we have to do to be able to speak. And as you'll know, Speaker, I'm very fond of you.
Now,
I think you're a very nice speaker.
Without you to speak.
Nice person. No, Speaker, I've been trying to speak since item 2. I put my hand up. I typed in the chat column. We've gone. I don't know what else to do. We're sitting here waving at the screen.
I can't see you waving.
Well, who's supposed to be responsible for it, Speaker? Because now we've gone through 4 items that the DA wanted to vote against that we could not vote on.
Which one are you voting against?
We want to vote against item 2, item 5, and item 8.
Item 2, item 5, item 8, the DA is against. Let's continue now.
Please can I ask, Speaker, that people are properly checking the column? Someone that's near you.
Please, bias. 258, the DA is against. Let's continue.
There might be other people too. Hopefully
You are
some
not
people
noting these because these items are for noting.
We're not.
Okay. All right, let's continue.
Fourth report of the executive committee. The first item, report of the governance and human resources committee of its meeting held on the 15th of the 7th, 2020. Item 1.1, Women's Day webinar, committee recommends.
Recommendation agreed? Is noted.
Item 1.2, men's seminar or webinar, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 1.3, online engagement platforms for ward councillors, committee recommends.
You've got speakers there? Oh. 1.3, we've got speakers. Councillor Singh. Councillor Singh.
S. Singh.
Councillor S. Singh.
Madam Speaker, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was muted there. Madam Speaker, after the 2016 local government elections, the city have provided councillors with numerous obtainings and workshops to ensure all councillors can do their tasks in a proper and efficient way. Ward council also given aid by the city to provide paid ward committee members to work side by side with elected ward councillors. Some of these ward councillors, ward committee members, are still collecting a stipend for doing absolutely nothing. Madam Speaker, at this moment, with the COVID-19 pandemic causing a huge burden to everyone, and with the 2021 local government election just around the corner, is this the right time to roll out this online engagement platform, which will cost the city money, as this will be a paid stipend as well? Did councillors wake up one morning and realize they do not know how to use social media? Have councillors also forgotten of other means to get their message out, to the communities. Example, the Kasani, Metro Beat, or the eThekwini Facebook page. Madam Speaker, who would identify the youths to be assigned to each ward for this project? It is clear and obvious, Madam Speaker, that this is just a smokescreen to make certain factions happy and silent, like the Youth League. Same way how our former mayor, Honorable Sandile Gumede, who was demoted as the mayor, but now promoted to the KZN legislator. Some would say it is now good to be a church mouse. Madam Speaker, it does not make sense to continue waste taxpayers' money when councils can actually do this job themselves. The DA will not support this item. Thank you.
Councillor Madlala? Okay. Who is in support of the recommendation? Who is against? It's only the DA that is against. Let's continue. Not supporting.
Item 1.4, naming of streets in Ward 66 covering Bluff. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
To the report of the Community Services Committee meeting held on the 16th of the 7th, 2020. Item 2.1 has been dealt with. 2.2, feedback on COVID-19 business recovery engagements.
Dealt with.
Or 2.2 has been dealt with. Yeah, and then the next report, number 3, report of the Finance, Security and Emergency Services Committee of its meeting held on the 30th of the 7th, 2020. Item 3.1, budget statement report for the month ended 31st of May, 2020. Committee recommends.
Is this noted?
Item 3.2, budget statement report for the month ending 30th of June, 2020. Committee recommends.
Is this noted?
Item 3.3, tender awards, inclusive of section 36, awards of eThekwini municipality for the month of June 2020. Committee recommends.
Is this noted?
Item 3.4, issuing of revenue clearance certificates. Committee recommends.
We have speakers here. Councillor McPherson. Councillor McPherson. Please raise your hand, Councillor McPherson. Councillor McPherson.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Speaker. I'm on now.
Okay.
Let me start off by saying that I would motivate that partly the reason that this item is here is through the hard work and efforts of DA Councillor Warren Byrne, who has virtually single-handedly pushed this particular item and brought it up as a matter of urgency. So I think some credit needs to be given to Councillor Warren Byrne. The reality of it is, dear friends, is that the backlog in the revenue clearance certificates has been nothing other than chaotic. Chaotic is quite a relevant word. You know, it's when things are in a mess. Chaotic. That's what this has been, a chaotic system. where we have these backlogs, which has caused unnecessary hardship in people trying to make an honest living. For those that need to move from one property to another, this is held up and cost individuals tens of millions if we was to add it up, where they've had to pay unnecessary additional rentals while they are unable to move properties. This is a classic example of poor service delivery, which could have been avoided. The flip side to it, of course, it's starved the city of much needed revenue, hundreds of millions of rands of revenue. What is the underlying reason? One of the main underlying reasons, if we look at it, is not necessarily because we were working at, first of all, 25% or 33% staff and then 50%, and then we had times when the offices were fully closed. It's the incredible red tape and overlay after overlay of what goes on in trying to in needing to issue a revenue clearance certificate. And what's the backbone? What is 90% of the issue here? The common thread that has been throughout this conversation, throughout the meeting, is here, right at the nub of it, is that the tendency for corruption exists in fast-tracking revenue clearance certificates in these departments. So what has to happen now is you've got one staff member having to check up on another staff member who then has to check up on another staff member. So 90% of the backlog is held up on check after check after check after check because corruption is endemic. We then have, because we have so many boxes to tick, that if one person goes off sick, then the whole clearance certificate then gets held up. Certificates, I should say. So we've got examples where an individual has a clearance certificate issued in 1 hour, and others 2 months later are still unable to get their clearance certificate. So if we're serious about service delivery, then surely by now what we should have is an efficient and smooth system that is user-friendly, online-friendly, and that we are running at 100%. We had understood that contingencies had been made and taking into consideration the pain of COVID and the difficulties that surrounded, that there was alternative premises being found at the ICC so that the revenue department could run at 100%. And we would like clarity as to whether they are now, if it can be confirmed by the chair, whether this department, in terms of the revenue clearance certificate, is running at 100%. The customers have a right to know, and now is that time. So thank you, Councillor Warren Byrne. It's difficult for you to speak on this, but the city and business owe you a debt of gratitude for bringing this forward. I thank you.
Your Worship, the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is an item on our agenda for the Finance Committee, and it was not just raised by Councillor Byrne. Again, a typical distortion of the truth. The revenue clearance certificate was regarded as so important that we held a joint meeting last year with DCM Beryl Makapati, what was this year, sorry, to actually talk together with our rates department on this matter, and not one of the DA members attended that meeting, not one. And we have found, and what we've had to do is put the rates department together with the infrastructure and human settlements department to manage this issue. We were given detailed reports from Beryl Makapati's DCM Makapati's department on this matter. And we are doing everything that we can to ensure that this backlog is being addressed, because we too understand the result of these revenue clearance certificates not actually happening. So Madam Speaker, I want to just correct the record, and secondly, note that this matter was fully supported by the ANC. I thank you.
This item was for noting. Let's move.
Item 3.5, Fire and Emergency Unit Activity Report for June 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3.6, Activity Report for Security Management Unit for February 2020. Committee recommends. Ugu 3.7, Ugu District Municipalities Debt. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3.8, 2020-2021 COVID costs. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3.9, Report on Investments for June 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Noted.
Item 3.10, Meter Reading and Billing. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3.11, Quarterly Report on Withdrawals from Municipal Bank Account in terms of Municipal Finance Management Act 20. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
3.12, Update on Emergency and Shelters for Homeless in eThekwini.
The recommendation noted?
Item 4 has been dealt with. Item 5 has been dealt with. Item 6, 2020-2021 individual performance agreements and performance plans for section 54 and A and 56. Committee recommends.
Councillor Graham.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Speaker, we have an objection to these individual performance plans. Whilst some of them are fair and are reasonable, we believe for far too long there's been an incredibly heavy, top-heavy management structure of the municipality, where we have a number of people who earn an incredible amount of money, which include massive bonuses, and that is not commensurate with the level of services that residents in the municipality receive. And if you go through these specific individual performance plans, which we did when they came to EXCO, many of them have incredibly low outcomes that actually are quite easy to obtain, with the exception of a few. We believe these are made deliberately low so that it looks as though targets are being achieved and all things are going smoothly and people can be paid their bonuses. But the reality is that the targets that are set and the impact that they have on people's lives who live in this municipality don't always communicate in the same WhatsApp group. We think that a lot of these targets need to be a lot higher, that there needs to be more strenuous requirements for people to be paid big bonuses, and that many of the targets, particularly in the economic cluster, where we are facing a huge jobs bloodbath and a huge problem in many of our industries, particularly in the human settlements, engineering, services and transport cluster. We've had problems for years with public transport and our housing delivery. We believe that both of those need to be addressed and need to be ramped up. So if people want to earn the big bonuses, they must do the big work. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Sitole. Councillor Nhlapo, I'm told.
Somlama, The matter that is tabled here, it's not for discussion, but it's for the approval, noting that whenever the council adopt the SDPIP, the issue of the section 54 and 56 becomes the part of the adoption. Why is being tabled here? It's only tabled for compliance since after the 30th of August, it's supposed to be taken to the MEC for COCTA for compliance. If the opposition would like to make any discussion or any clarification, that is accepted, but not now, in due course. I thank you.
The matter is for noting. Let's continue.
Item 7, ratification of Rule of Order 28, Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee items. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Somlomo.
Yes.
Hayi besifuna ukusho lapha ku 2 ku item 6 ukuthi noted.
Yes, yes. I said we're noting. Okay. Item 7, we're noting. Seven point two.
7.2, noting of the Rule of Order 28 request for authority to demolish and dispose of the existing Mobeni Reservoir. Committee recommends.
Is this noted?
7.3, noting of in terms of Rule of Order 28 for the authority request for the authority to transfer funds within the electricity unit budget 2020-2021 2019-2020 financial year. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed. Noted.
7.4, noting of Rule of Order 28 request for eThekwini Municipality to enter into tripartite agreement with the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Department of Human Settlements and the implementing agent for the construction of 360 top structures and provision of internal services at Kanku Road Housing Development Project. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted.
Noting of Rule of Order 28, acquisition of land for human settlement purposes. Committee recommends.
Recommendation noted. There's a hand here. Whose hand? Point of order. Councillor Graham.
Speaker, we're having problems today, hey? Big problems.
Yes.
We wanted to note our dissension on item 7.3.
You are dissenting on 7.3.
We are dissenting.
Okay. And where else? That's all. Let's continue.
That's all for now, but if someone could just keep checking the chat, that would be so helpful.
Okay. Let's continue.
Item 8 has been dealt with. We then move on to the 5th report. The report of the Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 6th of the 8th, 2020. Item 1.1.
Is the recommendation?
Durban Water Recycling Public-Private Partnership finalized feasibility study. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 1.2 and 1.3 have been dealt with. Item 1.4, request for authority to trans.
1.4.
1.4 has been dealt with. Item 1.5, request to establish integrated task team, Watabega hostel issues. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 1.6, Mpumalanga Township land legal matters. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
1.7 and 1.8 have been dealt with, and 1.9. We move on to 1.10. Customer Relations Management Strategy and Policy Review. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
1.11 dealt with. 1.12 request for support to review of the review of the Conopia Framework. Human Settlements Infrastructure Committee. Committee recommends.
Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Speaker. You whizzed past it, but I was actually a speaker on 1.10. Do you not have me down as a speaker?
Yes. I'll allow you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's the right thing to do. Thank you. This, Speaker, is probably one of the most important items on our agenda, and there's been some heavyweight items. But this is the backbone, and for the public, and I hope that there are public and some media that are still listening to this, because I hope that they're going to pay attention to this. Not only is it the most important item, but I am going to move an amendment, and Speaker, this time and for the other smaller parties, that are, I can't believe that the ANC aren't going to support it. For sure, they're going to support it because they are absolutely driven by service delivery. So I have no doubt that they will support it. But if they shouldn't, please allow them the opportunity to speak on it. My move for an amendment, Speaker, is simply changing the 5 years to 18 months. And I would like to speak to it, please. So in other words, a coherent and improved customer service to residents, visitors, and business over the next 18 months.
Have you got a seconder? Is there somebody seconding your amendment?
It is Samir Singh.
Singh must talk for himself.
Oh, all right. I thought you were asking me.
No, I'm asking
Thank
for
you, Madam Speaker. Councillor Samir Singh here. I second the amendment.
Okay, I'll allow you, Councillor McPherson, to motivate.
Okay, so the backbone of this is that our long-suffering residents, who are a mix of those looking for help, whether it be service delivery related, whether it be billing related, anything to do with a issue that they have one way or the other with the municipalities, the front line is customer service relations. And the city falls short without question. Going into any of our customer service centers, there is great difficulty in understanding where one has to go. That's if you're greeted at all. That's if it happens to be open. And then the elderly and those with children, is there enough seating? When was the last time the seats were cleaned? Are the security staff friendly? And they are generally the front line that somehow seem to have been elevated. And I'm talking about pre-COVID, that the security are elevated to front of house staff or of directing where people must go or not go. Where are the information desks? Where's the help? Where's the nice smiley face? Where's the nice, easy to read, clear, legible signs for customers to follow? And when there are various forms that need to be filled out, they're often so badly photostated. That's if they are available, and no pens or pencils. And there's no there seems to be no regulated system of queue hopping. You come in, you one side of the hall, then when you eventually get told where you are, you then get sent to the other side. And by then you've lost an hour or two. The queues, way out of proportion with the time that you needed to wait, depending on what area you could go in from, be in there from 1 hour till close of business. There seems to be insufficient staff to the number of queries. And as I mentioned, you could be standing in a queue for hours at a time. And back in the day, do you remember there was the good old service delivery card, which you could then rate. There's no sense of dress code. There's no sense of customer skill. We had a presentation, which I have no doubt that our Deputy Mayor will speak to, because we were all there. And the presenter, whose name I forget right now, had made a wonderful commitment that this training and corporate identity would be rolled out within 18 months. So what as we are asking is that we then commit ourselves to that. There is no time left. There is very little room for us to maneuver if we want to get our customer and our citizens back on board in believing us, in believing that the city is capable of service delivery. They've given up. There's no hope. Councillors have become the front line of dealing with service delivery issues, because the dreaded thought of having to go to one of our service centres is a fearful thought. It's not one that somebody looks forward to. So we get that this is important. We fully support every line item that needs to be addressed, from uniform to staff training to buy-in, etc., 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 to building upgrades, reseating, etc., but certainly not over a 5-year period. And that is why we are motivating very strongly for 18 months, as was suggested by the presenter. I thank you.
Is the amendment supported? The amendment is not supported. Can
Incredible.
Pardon?
I said incredible. I thought ANC would have brought it forward to 12 months.
All right, let's now deal with the recommendation. Is it agreed? Councillor Pillay? Councillor Pillay?
Madam Speaker, I raise my hand to support the amendment, but I think we have passed that now. Thanks. Bye.
Siyabonga Speaker. No, wona 5 years ubungaba muhle uma ngabe abasebenzi bangashintshi indlela abayiphethe ngayo. Siyabonga.
Thank you. All right. Can we then move to the next item?
The next item is item 1.12, request for support to review the Conobia framework. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Come on, speakers.
Item.
Okay.
The next item is item 1.13, motivation for the construction of retaining walls by USDG funding at Kirisalan Manuswa phase 1 rural project Ward 2.
Councillor Sibisi, independent. Councillor Sibisi. Unmute yourself, Councillor Sibisi. It's 1.14 beswenzile, ne? Yes. No, 115. Councillor Sibisi, okay, is the recommendation agreed? Okay.
Next item is item 1.16, land acquisition for public transport infrastructure. Committee recommends.
Yes, we did. Yes. No, 14, 113 and 11. Yeah, we're doing 116 now. Is the recommendation agreed? Aye. Yeah, yes, we did. Oh, 113 we didn't do. We did 114 and 115. City manager. So wenzile right now,
We've just done it
113. We're saying 114 and 115. We did it. We are now at 116.
And we've just agreed to 116.
Yes, we have agreed to 116.
And then 117 has been dealt with. And
Yes.
item 2, presentation, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs on skills audit. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted.
Item 3, progress report on minimum competencies. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 4, audit committee 2020-2021 audit committee charter. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted? What item is that? Is it agreed? Okay.
And item 5, internal audit charter 2020, June 2020, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted? Agreed?
Item 6, mayoral and ministerial online launch of the first African climate action plan, Durban CAP. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed?
The 6th report, item 1.1 has been dealt with, and we move on to item 1.2, request for to enter into partnership with the Food Fair Foundation. 1.3, customer relations management strategy and policy review. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 1.4 has been dealt with. Item 1.5, authority to outsource management and maintenance of Virginia Airport to external service provider. Committee recommends.
Akuma speaker. We don't have speakers left. 1.15. No, is the recommendation agreed?
1.6, Inkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Center, extension of term for 3 directors. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
Item 1.7, billboard advertising pilot program, pilot incubation program. Committee recommends.
Councillor Mtetwa, I'm told your hand is up.
Yes, Madam Speaker, the DA will abstain on this item.
Which one?
1.7.
The billboard.
Yes.
The DA is abstaining. Who else is abstaining? The recommendation is carried.
Item 1.8, request for authority financial support for Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 2, Women's Month Program. Committee recommends.
We've got speakers here, Councillor Govender. Councillor Govender.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've now been unmuted. Madam Speaker, if you'll allow me the indulgence of leaving my video off because I seem to be having tremendous connection problems today. May I continue?
Continue.
Okay, thank you. Madam Speaker, on this item, obviously the DA's stance on this matter is that the idea and not the efforts that we have noted in this item being put to address the scourge of gender-based violence, whilst also celebrating the contributions made by women within the city are appreciated. This item goes on further to state that there was a careful analysis made in terms of the expenditure associated with this event, which was appreciated. However, the emphasis here was put on implementing programs to add sustainable value in women and to provide practical assistance. Emphasis on practical assistance in addressing challenges being faced. We are tired of talk shops. The DA takes exception to the amount of money being spent on the frills rather than achieving the tangible outcomes that is so needed right now. Rightly so, expensive and exorbitant choice of certain venues, choice of speakers and program facilitators cannot be accepted. On a matter of principle, we are opposed to expenditure in the amount of 892,000 for this purpose. Financial implications. The venue that we've chosen, Moses Mabhida, Durban ICC, and community halls would come with a price tag of almost 200,000. Furniture hire, 100,000. Program directors and guest speakers, another 100,000. And then we've got a tick box exercise of promotional material, sanitary pads, books, sanitizers, and masks for 200,000. This spend is reminiscent of the PRC virtual concerts that are there as a cash cow. Events worth hundreds of thousands of rands with no tangible lasting imprint or outcome for the ratepayers or residents. A tangible outcome like an advice desk, a WhatsApp line, or legal content in terms of how affected women can access the judicial system easily, or facilitating collaborations with law clinics and counseling services, etc. That is making a dent, not tokenism of handing out sanitary pads, masks, and sanitizers for 200,000 Rand for a tick box exercise. How are you really measuring the outcome, the program versus the outcome? What are the city's actual interventions? We need detailed close-out reports on these types of events. Does the spend equate to reach, given the COVID bar of just 50 people per event? If I read this correctly, it's almost R1 million to reach 550 people in the city of eThekwini municipality. This is astounding and untenable. We really support outcomes-based programs that alleviate the plight of women, not these money spinners that benefit a few. We cannot support this item. Thank you.
Councillor Graham.
I'm not speaking on this item. Thanks, Speaker. I had my hand up just now, but I put it down.
Okay. Councillor Kumede. NC Kumede.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The IFP appreciates the program. In spite, we need to focus on the areas that are highly affected on daily basis, beside waiting for the Women's Month. Elderly people and women and young kids have been raped, killed on daily basis. This means we are not just dealing with criminals. These people are the beast that belongs to the zoo. And these people who are killing and raping women should get a death sentence. They are given a right over people that they have victimized. Worse, given bail to walk free. Who is paying for their legal fees? Worse, who is paying for everything for who is feeding them while they're in custody? They are spending taxpayers' money. We need to see more action taken like that sentence for these people. Enough is enough. IFP is pleading for this municipality to put more action towards gender-based violence so that we can cut down the number of criminals and action that has been taken against them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sishange.
Ngiyabonga.
Councillor Sishange. Please unmute. Thank you. You unmuted.
Ngiyabonga Somlomo. Sibonga kakhulu ukuthi umkhandlu so mama baseThekwini ngesikhathi la sibhekene khona nobhubhane le-COVID-19 ukwazile ukukhombisa ukuthi uyanakekela, wakwazi ukusinikeza ithuba lokuthi yize kunje sikwazi ukuthi sinakekelane, sikwazi ukukhombisa uthando nakulabo abahlukumezekile, siphinde sikwazi ukugubha inyanga yethu siwomama. Sibonga kakhulu ngawo wonke ama-programs enzekile. Siwomama siyakuthakalisa, sibonga kakhulu emkhandlwini weTheku, siyabonga.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed? Anybody who's against the recommendation? The recommendation is carried. Councillor Graham?
We're against the recommendation.
The DA is against the recommendation. Who else is against? The recommendation is carried.
Item 3, Audit Committee report for the third quarter ended 31st of March 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 4, ratification of Rule of Order 28. Authority to honor the late Mr. Welcome Somi, creative industry legend, with a funeral assistance. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted. Councillor Mthethwa.
Madam Speaker, I'm speaking on item 3.
Yes. There are no speakers here.
I am.
Oh no, you are. You're correct.
Yes.
Oh, that.
No, Madam Speaker, I'll be very, very brief because I think my colleagues earlier, Councillor Graham and Councillor Ben, covered a lot of ground when they spoke on that other item that had to do with the audit committee report. Firstly, I must say the DA commends a good work done by the audit committee. But for whatever recommendations and submissions they make to us, it will only depend on how both political leadership and administration work together in achieving the good result, because it wouldn't help them or us to have all these good reports produced for us to implement and there's no implementation. So I think politically, the political ground has been covered, political submission has been covered by Councillor Graham and Councillor Ben. I must, however, raise just a few issues that are raised on this report. There is absolutely no need that will even be told by the audit committee that our inner city is dirty. That does not have to be told to us by the audit committee. It's something that we and the officials should be able to take care of without being told by the external bodies. There is absolutely no need that the city would enter into agreements with no service level agreements with the service provider, where transactions are run in the region of hundreds of millions of rand, but there's no service delivery agreement and service level agreement with the service provider. There's always this elephant in the room, the RMS, that's always flagged by the audit committee, but we don't seem to be arresting this situation as to what we do with this elephant in the room. These are things that we need to be taken care of as the city, led by our administration, to make sure that we run a clean and efficient administration. There's the issue of inner city regeneration, which is key in our view in economic recovery that the officials are trying to work on. I mean, there is no reason, because here the main point that is being brought forward is the issue of bad buildings. Now, we are told that there are about 9 buildings that are owned by other organs of state, but the city and those organs of state have not discussed as to what we do with those systems, with those buildings, to make sure that those buildings are in a state that is able to attract visitors and economic spin-offs for our city. So those are some of the very few things that do not need, I mean, there's not rocket science. The things that need just commitment from our highly paid officers to make sure that our inner city is rejuvenated, to make sure that it attracts the much needed investment from the capital. I must, however, acknowledge the fact that we seem to find each other here, especially with the deputy mayor. We had a discussion about auditing of all the projects that are over 50 million, where there were issues raised by some other units. Then we did find each other there. But I must tell you, Madam Deputy Mayor, that you see, you must never be confused when you hear us saying we've been raising this issue for years. You are merely adding your own subdued voice on issues that we've been raising for quite some time. So we appreciate the fact that you are now starting to join the party and making sure that you add your own lone voice to what it has always been raising. But what you're saying as the DA is that we appreciate the work done by the audit committee, and we wish that all the political leadership, including the ANC, would work with us as the DA to make sure that those that are supposed to implement whatever recommendations do so. Thank you.
Your Worship, the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam.
She still wants to add her own voice.
Madam Speaker, I want the Councillor Mthethwa to please withdraw those obnoxious statements that I act in unison. I am a long-standing member of the ANC. I do not act on my own. I act as a collective, and that is also, it's not only insulting to me, it is insulting to the ANC, and I would really like that withdrawn.
Councillor Mthethwa, please withdraw what you said. The deputy mayor belongs to a collective.
Madam Speaker.
Withdraw.
Withdraw what, Madam Speaker? I didn't hear.
Withdraw what you said. The deputy mayor is not happy and uncomfortable with what you said, that she is acting in unison. She belongs to a collective. She is trying to say that to you. We are saying that she belongs to the ANC. Don't single her out from where she belongs.
Well, believe me, Madam Speaker, I do understand where she's coming from. I was merely mentioning her because she seemed to be passionate about supporting the issues that we've always been raising. But I do understand where she's coming from. I haven't had that collective vigorously raising the issues as she's doing. So, I mean, I have nothing to withdraw there.
Can you withdraw? She says it's an insult to her. Please withdraw.
The insult that she's doing a wonderful job of joining the voices.
She doesn't want to. It's an insult that she joins the voice of Councillor Mthethwa.
Oh, no, Madam Speaker, if she's uncomfortable with that, I apologize if she feels uncomfortable with that, but I'm not going to withdraw it because it's not an insult. But if she feels uncomfortable, I withdraw. I apologize. I'm not going to withdraw though.
And withdraw.
Madam Speaker.
Withdraw. Councillor Mthethwa. We want progress. Please withdraw.
I really don't think there's anything to withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
Please withdraw your utterances, what you said about the deputy mayor.
But it is a fact that the deputy mayor is joining the voices that we've raising for quite some time. She's starting now because she's obviously just joined council now. I haven't heard that collective that she's talking about raising these issues as much as we've been raising. That's a fact.
A collective, please withdraw because she knows
But
that
the collective has been here for years. That collective has not been raising these matters that the deputy mayor is joining us and raising now.
We'll talk. But Mayor, is your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are, Bab Mayor.
Yeah, I think what is missing, part of most of the truth that Councillor Mthethwa decided to shelve when he made the statement is that the ESCO that is deployed by the ANC is playing an effective oversight role in the ESCO. As a result, even the DA has got nothing to say now besides supporting what the ANC is doing. If you recall, all the issues on good governance are the issues that we raised them in our inauguration meeting of this council, and we are implementing what we raised in that. So we are really on track in terms of dealing with issues. So we know that is damaging to the DA because they are left with nothing to say after the ANC has provided leadership. So even if it doesn't withdraw, but he knows the truth that as a collective deployed in that ESCO of the African National Congress, we are leading the issues and will continue doing that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Councillor Graham.
Speaker, I think if someone wants there to be a withdrawal, it needs to be on a specific ground. Someone being uncomfortable is not a specific ground for a point of order and your ruling to withdraw. There are lots of things that happened today that have made me uncomfortable. This council permanently makes lots of us uncomfortable, but that's not a ground for withdrawal. Unless something deliberately offensive or disrespectful was said to the deputy mayor, which it wasn't, she has no grounds to request that Councillor Mthethwa withdraw anything.
Councillor Graham, she said it's an insult to her that she acts alone when she belongs to a collective. That's where she's supposed to withdraw. It's an insult to her.
Oh, please, then, that's like so childish.
Let's continue with Mabanga. Councillor Mabanga. Councillor Mabanga.
Speaker, nami ngicela ukufaka lapha umbono.
Yes, Councillor Mabanga.
Again Mabanga lo. Ukhuzwayo.
Ubani lo?
Ukhuzwayo.
Speaker, there was a Mabanga before you. Councillor Mabanga, then Tiane, then Kuzwai.
Madam Speaker, can I also be recognized?
Okay, Deputy
On a
Mayor.
point of order.
Mabanga is not here anymore. Councillor Mabanga is not here. Let's hear Councillor Mtiane. I hope you are not going to take us back.
Deputy Mayor.
Okay, let's allow the Deputy Mayor to speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me explain to Councillor Graham, who seems to insist on knowing the rules, and we're all just too stupid. Is that, Madam Speaker, that
Councillor Mtiane are out of order. No, I am the speaker here. Councillor Mtiane. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I now no longer just want Councillor Mtetwa to withdraw. I also want Councillor Graham to withdraw her insulting comment about me being childish. It is the violation of the rule that was done by Councillor Mtetwa was a deliberate misrepresentation of the facts. And that is a rule of this council. And Madam Speaker, it is a lie that I act in unison. It is an insult to me, and it is an insult to the party that I represent. And I insist that this is now withdrawn by Councillor Mtetwa, and the insult from Councillor Graham that I'm childish needs to be withdrawn.
Councillor Tian. Please unmute him. Councillor Mtiane, please unmute Councillor Mtiane. Kipeza. Everybody must hear what you say. Please allow, he's been trying to press on his speaker. Supplementary,
Manje kwaphayisa yonke into.
It's not on. Go this side, Mtiani. Go that side. Hlala esitulweni jikela kahle.
Mala ngime ngapha. Speaker. Yabona lokho ukutricta kwakhe i-DA special kanje kuzosinikeza inkinga nathi. Ngoba phela thina makuyithina esikhulumayo uyashesha ukusikhomba eminyango. Kodwa i-DA ulokhu uyiphethe ngesandla nje sisoft angazi ukuthi yini lengaka ngempela. Kade bekhuluma bebangumsindo banqaba nokuwithdrawa awubakhombe eminyango speaker. Kodwa thina usikhombe eminyango thina. Sicela ke speaker ubakhombe eminyango ke manje nabo ngoba bakhombe eminyango ke manje ke speaker ngoba bafuna ukulalela abafuna ukuwithdrawa. Noma khona ke bengamthukanga nje uDeputy Mayor kodwa ke bakhombe eminyango. Abamthukanga yena uDeputy Mayor kodwa bakhombe eminyango speaker.
Councillor Mthethwa.
Yes, Speaker.
Yebo, Councillor Nyambos.
No, I don't know. Ngizo speaker ngibiza I was.
Withdraw, Kesh.
Madam Speaker, I like you. I respect you as the leader of this house. But really, I'm not going to withdraw the fact that we appreciate this one voice that is joining the many DA voices in raising issues in this council. So I'm not going to withdraw that. If she feels uncomfortable, she must then be like the rest of them and be complacent in dealing with issues. But I'm not going to withdraw the fact that we appreciate her voice in joining the many DA voices in raising issues. No. If she feels aggrieved, Madam Speaker, she can formally complain to your office if she feels aggrieved. I'm happy to come and answer to you.
But you are disrespecting the speaker, the ruling of the speaker, Councillor Mthethwa. Councillor Mapena, Councillor Mthethwa, you are disrespecting me. I'm making a ruling, you're disrespecting me. Councillor Mapena.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, sir.
I'm of the view and opinion that the mayor had addressed this issue and we can move on. He was trying to address it on behalf of the ANC the way he was putting it. So that's why I had my hand up a long time ago so that the mayor was trying to address it.
Let us continue. I will deal with the matter of Councillor Mthethwa.
Speaker.
Let's continue. I will now invite the deputy mayor to finish her speech.
Madam Speaker, I don't think I'm a speaker on this list.
We're given your name. Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed? Is there anybody who disagrees with the recommendation? The recommendation is carried. Yes.
The last item on the supplement on the main agenda, item 4, ratification of the Rule of Order 28, authority to honor the late Mr. Welcome Somi, creative industry legend with funeral assistance. Committee recommends.
The recommendation noted. Thank you.
Move back to the
Pardon?
move back to the
Councillor Mthethwa, is your hand up?
Yes, we are not in support of noting this item, number 4.
The DA is not in support. Who else? For no.
Noted.
The item is for noting. Let's move to the supplementary agenda.
Item 1.1 is item 1.2, request for approval of grass cutting funding allocation for future cemeteries and crematoria. Financial year in 2020-21, financial year and beyond. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Agreed. Recommendation is carried.
1.3 has been dealt with. Item number 2.1 has been dealt with. 2.2, presentation and debt, presentation, debt, and municipal revenue.
Is the
Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Item 2.3, firefighter support at long duration emergency operation incidents. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
2.4 has been dealt with. 3 has been dealt with. 4, integrated city development grant requirements, adoption of city's infrastructure delivery management system. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
Item 5, COVID-19 related expenditure as of July 2020. Committee recommends.
Councillor Nkosi. Chief Whip.
This item is for noting, Madam Speaker.
Yes, but there are speakers. Councillor Nkosi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Your team is taking too long to unmute us. Madam Speaker, we understand that this item is for noting. However, Madam Speaker, we wanted to register that we cannot note this item as IFP simply because MPEC is still busy asking for Section 36 items which were not even brought to them. And also, you cannot tell me, Madam Speaker and colleagues, that why we opted to use during the COVID-19 the tent or the marquees instead of buildings that we own, even halls, because it was a lockdown. The investigation internally has not been completed. So it is on that note, Madam Speaker, that we're saying as IFP, we cannot note this item. Thank you.
Okay, the item is for noting. Are we noting?
Item 6 has been dealt with. Item 7, business continuity policy and framework review. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 8, ratification of Rule of Order 28, extension of 3 board members of 3 board of directors of Nkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item 9 has been dealt with. Item 10, COVID-19 SCM procurement report. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Items 11 and 12 have been dealt with. Item 13.
Is there a hand up?
Item 10.
Item 10, Councillor Mthethwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We note the report presented to us. We would have preferred, though, that the audit committee report is also part of this report, because then it makes it difficult for us to engage this report in the absence of that internal audit committee investigation report, because there are areas of concern that we have here regarding the content of this report and the procurement and the overpricing and all of that. But we would want to deal with this report in comparison to what would have been uncovered by internal audit investigation. So we want to encourage internal audit to speed up the investigation, because I mean, we've been waiting for this for over 3 months now. I'm not sure why it would take internal audit this long to investigate what is happening internal, because I mean, these are sister units. You just walk across the other building and get hard copies of whatever information you need if you have to. I mean, we can't wait to receive a consolidated internal audit report so that we are able to engage further on this report, because we do know that there are some of the expenditure items which are not part of this report that is presented to us that we would want to see appearing on the internal audit report. But we do note this with serious concern. We will await eagerly with interest the report of the internal audit. Thank you.
The recommendation is for noting. This one.
Item 13, proposed alienation of portion.
Councillor Kumete has a hand up.
Madam Speaker, yes, actually there was a hand for Councillor Nkosi. We both raised the hand because I wanted you to note him, because our hands will keep on changing each other. So can I allow Councillor Nkosi to come in?
Abeko kuma speakers. People were speaking here. Are people on the list of speakers, Councillor Kumete?
Okay, but as IFP, we're not noting.
Okay, let's continue.
Item 13, proposed alienation of portion of A of the remainder of Earth 1 Durban as depicted on plan number SJ 4796/3, measuring 2.4198 hectares for the purpose of building maritime school. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed.
Item 14, establishment of
There's a
Ethekwini
hand.
Economic Council.
City Manager, there's a hand. Councillor Graham.
On item 13.
On item 13, is that item 13? Councillor Graham.
Speaker, I am worried about our quorum. It was a point of order. There are only 84 people online. At least 11 or 12 of those are officials. It's the council chamber showing us empty chairs. I can only see the EFF in the main auditorium. And in the Mandela room, it looks like there's maybe 6 councillors there. Unless there's something that we're missing, is there any way to prove that we have a quorum?
I'm in the main auditorium. There are both ANC councillors, AIC councillors, ANC, EFF, and AIC in the auditorium.
How many councillors are in the main auditorium, Speaker?
No, I don't account to you.
You don't account to me?
I don't account to you because I'm telling you, I'm sitting here. I'm
not asking you to account to me. I'm asking you if you've got a quorum to continue with the meeting in terms of the rules.
Of the EFF, there are councillors of the AAC. What more do you want now? You want me to stand up and go and count the people there? I'm not going to do that.
I don't think it's an unreasonable request to know how many people are in the meeting.
Let's continue.
It's a basic requirement of the rules to have a quorum.
But you are saying there are no people. I'm telling you, there are people in this room. Let's continue.
Well, can we see them?
Let's continue, Speaker.
Let's continue.
Item 14, establishment of the eThekwini Economic Council Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
And that brings us to the end of the supplementary agenda, Madam Speaker. Then there is the ethics report and...
Councillor Sope, your ethics report.
Yeah, my hand is okay. Speaker, can I start, Speaker?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. In terms of our report, the introduction is self-explanatory. The background is hunky-dory. We, as Ethics Committee, we did apply the principle of natural justice, being formal procedure, just and fair procedure, presumption of innocent until proven guilty. The principle of ad alteram partem rule also applied, where it is only one councillor that appeared before the committee, and we hereby recommend that in terms of Municipal Systems Act 32 of 2000, Schedule 1, Section 14.2, he was found having breached the provision of this code. Therefore, we recommend that he is being reprimanded.
The recommendation agreed? Okay. We now move to, we have one notice of motion. We have a hand. Councillor Graham.
Speaker, I think there are far more councillors who've done far worse than this. And I think we'd like to abstain on that basis until we start getting proper ethics reports.
The DA is abstaining. Is there somebody else who's abstaining? Agreed. We've got one norm. Is it accepted? Are we saying no? Can we allow the mover to speak on the notice of motion? Councillor M. Billy.
Speaker.
Yes.
Sibingelele sihlalo.
Slalo, should I introduce the motion or should I just go ahead and speak on it?
Speak on it.
Sihlalo,
Unmute. Unmute yourself. Ufrizile. Councillor Billy seems to be having a problem, connectivity problem.
Hayi kodwa vele speaker besishila sivumelane nento yakhe singaqhubeka.
Councillor Billy, you seem to be having a problem. Councillor Billy has a problem. Let's then continue with the other items.
Speaker?
Yes, Councillor Graham.
Councillor Billy's clearly, like you say, has got a problem. If he's not able to reconnect, can we ask that this notice of motion be withdrawn so he can retable it properly at the next meeting so that it doesn't fall off the agenda, please?
All right, we'll do that.
Unless he's able to reconnect in the next few seconds, but it doesn't look like he's able to.
No, let's have it in the agenda of the next meeting. Can we
Thank
move to page item 12? Report of the mayor in terms of the Municipal Finance Management Act. Your worship.
Honorable Speaker, am I audible enough?
Yes, what may?
No, I have no report of MFMA if you were on that item.
All right, but Mayor, thank you very much, Your Worship. Report of the Municipal Manager Acting CM. Do you have any report?
I have no report, Madam Speaker.
Report of committee decisions for noting. Are those noted, councillors? Items for noting. Are those noted, councillors? We now have an in-committee report. Can we allow officials to leave the meeting and those who are on Zoom to exit? Thanks to Teresa, thank you.
Right, sis.
Uzothatha ngani?
Asike sambamba ukuthi bese consequence management.
Yeah. In asathu further now. As every